Hey, what's going on guys? It's your boy Magician, and today I want to talk about a little known phenomenon in Tekken that I like to call double pushback. Now, because I don't want to leave anyone behind, as in people who don't really understand the game that well, I'm going to explain pushback by itself, wall pushback, and then double pushback. So if you are knowledgeable about the game, just skip straight to the timestamp that I left in the description called double pushback, so you can watch from there. But if you still want to watch the whole video, then let's talk about pushback. What is pushback? It's a move property, so if you block a move with pushback, the defender gets pushed back, as the name implies. Now, there are a lot of moves with pushback. Some moves are safe with pushback, some moves are unsafe, even with pushback, and some moves are safe because of pushback, namely Brian 3+4 and Elisa 2-2. Those are two examples of a move that is unsafe frame-wise, but is safe with pushback because of the pushback. Now, this is cool by itself. So let's ask a question. What happens when you block a move with pushback when you're already at the wall, when your back is to the wall? The answer is wall pushback. So what ends up happening is the opponent, the attacker, the one who did the move with the pushback, is the one who gets pushed back, as you can hopefully see by the examples that I'm showing right now. So that's wall pushback. It's when a move with pushback at the wall forces the attacker, the one who did the move, to get pushed back instead of the defender. Now, important to note that not all moves with pushback rather induce wall pushback. Some moves with pushback actually just leave you points black when the opponent when blocked at the wall, so you can get punished for that and you should be careful. But if a move has wall pushback, and this is the core of the video right now, if a move has wall pushback but the opponent is not quite at the wall, if there's a smidge of space between the defender and the wall, what happens if they block a move with wall pushback? Does the opponent, as in the defender, get pushed back just that smidge of a distance and the rest of the pushback is ignored? No. Is the defending character pushed back up until they reach the wall and the remainder of the pushback distance is applied to the attacking character? Also no, of course not, this is Tekken. What ends up happening in this situation is double pushback. What happens is the character, the defending character, gets pushed back up until the wall. The game detects that the defender has reached the wall, right? And so the whole pushback distance of the move is applied again on the attacker. This is double pushback. This is Paul's Death Fist, one of his key moves, and honestly, one of his trademark moves, right? It induces pushback and wall pushback. It has been toned down in Tekken 8, it used to push back a lot more in previous Tekkens, but it still does in Tekken 8. Now, King here can actually always punish Death Fist out in the open with forward 1+2, one of his long-range punishers, as you can see in the examples, hopefully, even at like the tippiest of ranges, right? So, let's see how we can use double pushback to make this move safe. Here at the wall, you can see that on tip range, King's forward 1+2 whiffs and can actually give Paul a full launch because of the whiff itself. Now, even though this is like an example, you can see in the move properties, hopefully, as I'm showing right now, that at tip range out in the open, Death Fist produces 2.9 range, a 2.9 range difference between the opponents. But with double pushback, it could reach 3.3 if I'm not mistaken, because I'm not actually testing this on the game right now, I'm just telling you, but it might be more, it might be less, but it's around 3.3. From going from 2.8 to 2.9 to 3.3 is huge, like almost nothing will hit you in this game. So this can be used not only to make the move safe, but create spacing traps. Another example that is not as egregious in terms of range, but is just as dangerous in terms of opportunities, is Brian's back 4. The knee that is around -10 to -11 if I'm not mistaken, and gives hella plus, which is especially dangerous at the wall because he gets jet upper or forward 2 for a hit engager, or forward 1+2 if he feels like it for max damage, I believe. Now, because it's -10, characters with good jab ranges, namely Dragunov for this example, can punish back 4, both in the open and at the wall. I believe even at like the most tip range. But again, if we use this move with double pushback, then even Dragunov's punishers, so 1-2 and 1-3, they whiff. So Brian can get a launch if he expects the jab punish to whiff. And a third miscellaneous example of wall pushback, which you honestly won't see in any real match, I don't believe, is Jack's back 1+2 versus Victor's back 3 1+2. Now, Victor's back 3 1+2 is, to my knowledge, the only move that will punish Jack back 1+2 at any range, excluding Falcon Realm, of course. So as you can see in this example, at any range at which back 1+2 is blocked, Jack's back 1+2, back 3 1+2 by Victor always punishes it, except again at the wall. As you can see right now, hopefully, Victor is whiffing his back 3 from back 3 1+2 after he blocks Jack's back 1+2 because of the wall pushback. Again, this is a miscellaneous example, but hopefully you can see like how double pushback works. Because of the distance between the defender and the wall, an extra bit of pushback is created so that it makes even the most reliable punishes unreliable, as seen with these examples. Now, how do we use the information at hand here in a real match? Obviously, there are two facets with which you can view this information. One is as the attacker, and two is as the defender. With the attacker, obviously you can make punishable moves unpunishable, but if you play Tekken, you would know that it is incredibly difficult to set this up in neutral, where both players are quote-unquote free to do whatever they want. What if the opponent dash blocks and they don't actually reach the wall, so double pushback doesn't activate and you get killed for it? What if the opponent does a step block, at which they become off axis, they don't quite reach the wall again, and you'll get launched again? There are a lot of nuances in which like this situation won't actually happen out in neutral, but a few situations in which you can set this up is when you have overwhelming plus frames. So an example of that would be ballerina stuns when you're +10 or above, as you can obviously see in the example, hopefully. Another situation would be after the opponent tech rolls. If you don't know, after the invulnerability frames of the tech roll, the opponent is still not free to do whatever they want. They are locked to the tech roll animation and have to get between a mid and a low. In this situation, you can make them block the pushback mid and get that burst of range you want from double pushback. A third example would be a lot of hesitation frames, as you can hopefully see in this example. If you make the opponents really scared of a move, you can make them block for enough time for you to do the move with pushback, so that double pushback applies to the situation. And now that we've gotten that out of the way, this is where I have to confess that this video thumbnail and title are a bit of a clickbait, because this is not a really practically reasonable way to use double pushback. The most reasonable way to use double pushback as the attacker, and I do tend to do it in a real match, is with safer moves. Remember, not all moves with pushback are unsafe. For example, Kazuya's while standing 4 and King's while standing 4. A lot of while standing 4s actually do have pushback as small as it is. We just don't realize it because it's small. they have normal pushback, wall pushback, and so they have double pushback. And so what ends up happening if you use double pushback with a move with really good frames at the wall, as with Kazuya's while standing 4, is you create a lot of unexpected range, especially like at this frame situation. The opponent is almost forced to do a quick retaliation, like a down forward 1 or a down forward 2, because there are a lot of threats against Kazuya when your back is at the wall. You can do while standing 4 into 1-1-2 to frame trap anything slower than 13 frames. He can sidestep. He can, and if you choose to stay still, he can actually launch you with a hell sweep at the wall, as we all know with down forward 1, down forward 2. So because of this like big ass burst in range between the opponents, a lot of quote unquote unexpected by the defender and expected of course by the Kazuya are going to happen. So you can launch however you want after that quick bursts of range caused by double pushback with a safe move, which is very reasonable, because even if they don't do anything, or if they choose to dash press a button, you're not risking your life. And even if double pushback doesn't activate, if they're not quite at the wall, or if they're already sticking to the wall and you don't get a lot of range between you and the opponent, you do not die for it, as per with Paul Dead Fist or Jack back 1+2. Now, the second facet with which you can use this information is of course as the defender, and here is a bit of an anecdote. In the past, I have blocked so many Death Fists at the wall and tried to punish with forward 2-1 asking, which is a reliable punish for Death Fist both if you're sticking to the wall and out in the open, which does the most damage, the most frames, and could lead to a launch if you're already in heat. So many times I've blocked the Death Fist, tried to punish with forward 2-1, but because of the double pushback, the forward 2 whiffs and the opponent ducks under the 1, so I end up getting launched for trying to punish Death Fist with forward 2-1. But throughout like the years, because I started to understand this phenomenon, now when I block a Death Fist at the wall, muscle memory tells me to do forward 2-1, so I end up inputting the forward 2. But because I consciously know of the risk of double pushback, I don't press the 1. I stop myself from pushing the 1. And most of the times the opponents will duck expecting the 1. So what ends up happening is not only I saved myself from getting my forward 2-1 ducked and launched, the opponents, because of the hesitation frames from expecting the 1 and forward 2-1, ends up ducking 2 and waiting for a little bit, which makes us around even in frames. No one has the advantage over the other, and we can keep on playing. I have not lost much from like stopping myself from inputting the 1. So this is one case in which you can use the knowledge from double pushback as the defender. If you're really good and you have really good reactions and reflexes, you can actually stop yourself from pressing the first move itself, which would be incredible for characters with good launch punishers like Haorang back 3 and Kazama forward 2, because you actually stop yourself from getting launched, even on block. So that's amazing. And yeah, that's about it. I hope you learned something new from this video. Don't be like afraid to try new setups near the wall, because like the potential reward, as you've seen with Brian, for example, getting his back 4 blocked and ducking the 1-3 and launching Dragunov is like a lot of damage. You can genuinely kill your opponents into interactions with this information. So yeah, I hope you learned something new. Don't be afraid to try out new situations with this information. And yeah, like if you liked the video, and see you in the next one. Peace out.